High up in the northern wilderness, across the vast and barren tundra, lives a mysterious creature, one long associated with wisdom and often revered as a spiritual messenger between worlds. The snowy owl. It's best known today among fans of Harry Potter. In certain years, it travels far to the west, even reaching parts of Europe, sometimes all the way to Germany. Why does the snowy owl, so deeply tied to the Arctic, appear in lands far beyond its realm? It's a rare and mysterious journey, one that scientists call an eruption. Unlike typical migration patterns, these sudden movements are unpredictable, driven not by season, but by survival. At the heart of it all is the lemming, a small rodent that forms the core of the snowy owl's diet. When lemming populations crash in the north, the owls are forced to travel farther and farther in search of food. Hunger pushes them beyond the tundra, over forests, cities, and fields unfamiliar to them. But food scarcity isn't the only reason. In years when lemmings are abundant, snowy owls thrive, raising large broods, sometimes with 6 or more chicks. As these young owls mature, the competition for territory grows fierce. Pushed by instinct and necessity, many set off in search of space and sustenance of their own. These eruptions are not annual. They come in waves, sometimes several years apart, sometimes in surprising numbers. One winter might pass with no sightings. The next could bring dozens to landscapes that have never seen one before. And in a changing world, even the snow and ice they call home are shifting. Altered weather patterns, deeper snow, or frozen crusts can make hunting nearly impossible, forcing even the strongest of predators to seek out new ground. But what truly sets this bird apart isn't just her appearance, it's the silence. The snowy owl, just like her sisters in the Strigidae family, is a master of silent flight. While vultures tear through the sky with a grim rustle and hawks whistle through the branches, the owl passes unheard. To the prey below, she doesn't arrive as a threat, she arrives as a shadow. But how is that even possible? The secret begins with her wings. Owl wings are disproportionately large compared to the size of their bodies. This allows them to glide rather than flap, which already minimizes sound. But that's only part of the mystery. If you looked at an owl's wing under a microscope, you'd find an evolutionary marvel. Her feathers are special. Along the front edge of the wing is a row of fine, comb-like structures called serrations. These delicate bristles break the air before it hits the main part of the wing. Instead of slamming into the surface and creating turbulence, the air is scattered into tiny, silent whirlwinds. On the back edge, the feathers are soft and velvety, designed to muffle whatever sound remains. Now imagine this. The flight of an eagle can be heard from dozens of meters away. But an owl? Even at just 1 or 2 meters, its flight makes no sound the human ear can detect. This phenomenon is so fascinating that engineers have studied it to develop quieter turbines and low-noise trains. Owls may not be the most fearsome predators in nature, but when they decide to strike, you'll never hear them coming. For the owl, silence isn't a luxury, it's a matter of survival. She hunts at night. Her prey, mice, voles, even smaller birds, have highly sensitive hearing. Even the slightest rustle would mean a missed meal. That's why evolution erased every sound from her flight so she could remain invisible, not just to the eye, but to the ear. Silent flight is only half the secret, because even in perfect silence, you must still find your target. And in the darkness of night, where light is scarce and shadows rule, vision becomes everything. That's where the owl holds another deadly advantage. Those eyes are biological masterpieces built for the night. First, size matters. Owl eyes are enormous compared to their skulls, among the largest in proportion of any bird species. In some owls, their eyes make up to 5% of their total body weight. To put that into perspective, if humans had owl-sized eyes, we'd have eyes the size of tennis balls. But strangely, owl eyes don't move. They are fixed in place. So instead of shifting their gaze, owls move their entire heads, sometimes rotating up to 270 degrees. This motion gives them binocular vision with astonishing depth perception. Like elite snipers, they can lock onto a mouse from across a field. Their retinas are packed with rod cells, the light-sensitive cells responsible for black and white night vision. In fact, owls have 5 times more rod cells than cone cells, which detect color. This means their world isn't colorful, but it is brilliantly detailed in low light. Where a human would see shadows, an owl sees structure, movement, life, and perhaps the slightest twitch of a tail beneath a blanket of snow. Most birds of prey rely on their talons, but for the snowy owl, they are more than just tools for hunting. They are weapons of survival in a world of ice. Each foot is covered in dense feathers like natural snow boots, protecting her from temperatures that would freeze exposed skin in seconds. Beneath that soft outer layer, however, lies something altogether more brutal, a crushing mechanism of bone and muscle, ending in razor-sharp curved claws. Her talons can exert up to 500 pounds per square inch of pressure, strong enough to puncture the skull of a lemming or snap the spine of a ptarmigan, but there's more. The toe arrangement, called zygodactyl, gives her 2 toes pointing forward and 2 backward. That means superior grip, even on slippery, icy surfaces. And unlike many birds of prey that swoop from great heights, the snowy owl often launches attacks from low perches or even the ground, making her strikes sudden, silent, and devastatingly precise. Survival in the Arctic requires more than strength. It requires engineering. And the snowy owl has evolved to wear the North like a second skin. Her plumage is denser than almost any other owl species. Over 1,000 feathers cover her body, compared to around 500 to 600 in temperate owls. Beneath this outer coat is a layer of down feathers, which trap warm air and insulate her against wind chills that plummet to minus 50 degrees Celsius. Imagine how cold is that? In extreme conditions, many animals hibernate or migrate, but the snowy owl stays alert. Her metabolic system adapts, slowing in colder months and conserving energy. Even her coloration is part of the design. Unlike the mottled browns of forest owls, she wears pure white, perfect camouflage on the open tundra. Males can be almost completely white, while females and juveniles often bear dark spots and barring, providing subtle differences for camouflage and identification. When people imagine owls, they often picture silence. But the snowy owl isn't mute. In fact, she is one of the most vocal owl species, especially during breeding season. Her signature call is a deep, booming, lower and louder than most owls, able to carry over great distances in the frozen stillness of the Arctic. But that's not all. She also hisses, snaps her beak, screeches, and emits sharp crack calls, especially when threatened or defending her nest. What's fascinating is that males and females have slightly different calls, and vocalizations can change depending on context: mating, warning, aggression, or communication with chicks. Incredible. Unlike many owls that share overlapping territories, the snowy owl is intensely territorial, especially during breeding season. A single female may defend a nesting area of several square kilometers, chasing off rivals, Arctic foxes, and even humans if they approach too closely. Males patrol the skies above the nest, often diving at intruders with talons extended. What's remarkable is their choice of nesting site. No trees, no caves, no cliffs, just the ground. A slight rise in the tundra, perhaps a wind-blown hillock or a patch of moss-covered earth, is enough. The female scrapes a shallow depression in the ground and lays her eggs, completely exposed to the elements. It's a risky move, but she guards them fiercely. Even polar bears have been known to back away from a protective snowy owl mother. The Arctic summer offers something rare: continuous daylight, 24 hours of sun for weeks. This is when the snowy owl breeds. A typical clutch contains 3 to 11 eggs, though the number depends on food availability, especially the lemming population, their primary prey. The chicks hatch in intervals, not all at once, creating a natural hierarchy. The eldest is strongest, getting the most food. The youngest often don't survive. But those who do grow fast, doubling in size every few days. Within weeks, they become mobile, fluffy gray creatures running across the tundra while their parents hunt. Both mother and father feed the chicks. The male often delivers multiple lemmings per hour, caching extras around the nest for later. In just 2 months, the young will grow feathers, stretch their wings, and take flight, ready to claim their own patch of frozen wilderness. In the Arctic, predators are few, but dangers are real. Arctic foxes, jaegers, and ravens steal eggs and chicks. Harsh storms can bury nests. A single bad season of prey can wipe out an entire generation. As climate change alters the tundra, snow melts earlier, vegetation shifts, and lemmings, who rely on snow cover, decline. Snowy owls may be forced to breed earlier or abandon breeding altogether in poor years. Add to that power lines, vehicles, pollution, and urban sprawl in wintering zones, and the risks grow. In 2017, the snowy owl was classified as vulnerable by the IUCN. Not yet endangered, but watching the edge. We still have so many amazing stories to share with you, so make sure to stay tuned. If you'd like to support our journey, simply hit the subscribe button. It's completely free. See you in the next video. Nature's Code.